right, Shalom. This is a prophecy updates. Yeah, prophecy news updates as of June the 2026 on this Friday morning. So with that, like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Kadash. And Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh. And his only begotten Son, Hashem, and name of Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the lost profession of the tongue. And I say Barak to the elders and apostles who are out here, and I say Shalom. And as I mentioned again, this is as of June the 12th, 2026 on this Friday morning. So I'm going to go to the RT.com. Now, despite the fact Iran in the United States, despite the fact Iran and the United States about to get close to a peace deal, but I believe in the deal, Iran said they still want to have full control of the enrichment of uranium, and then have full control of the Strait of Hormuz steel, So that lets you know, even though, they took some of those off the part so even though most likely this deal is going to go through, but you're still going to have tensions out heating up in different parts around the world. So prophecies are still going to come to pass with the field. The third war is still going to come to pass with the field. And I believe in that deal, they said Lebanon, and I think Lebanon and Beirut is going to be part of that deal as well too. Because Hezbollah, they said they was confident that they was going to be part of that deal as well too. So even if they do sign off on this deal, but you're still going to have proxy wars and tensions still heating up over there in Western Asia. And then now, with that being said, now the switch over to another story with the Russia-Ukraine situation is only going to intensify. It says Russia riding solo against the entire West, has said, and it goes to say that Isaiah the 37th chapter. Isaiah 13 verse 17. The Heavenly Father's going to stir up the beats against the first of Babylon. That's where we see that shine light in it. And then it says, 4 were killed, 4 were unalive in a Ukrainian attack on Russia. Right, so that lets you know this Russia-Ukraine situation is only going to intensify. So you got one war is off the books, and you got another war is heating up, And so wars and rumors of wars are still going to continue to heat up in the world today, and that's what we're seeing. So I'm going to factoring out that Matthew 24 chapter. You got Matthew 24 and verse 6, and you share here on wars and rumors of wars, right? So we still hear wars and rumors of wars that Yahweh spoke about. And the Russia versus Ukraine and Russia versus the United States, that's going to heat back up as well too. It says you should hear on wars and rumors of wars, right? The European Union versus NATO, and Belarus versus Belarus and Russia. NATO versus Russia, that's going to heat back up once again. It says that you should hear on wars and rumors of wars, see that you be out trouble for all these things, but so it's going to pass. But the end is not yet, right? So it's going to come to pass, but not the end is yet. Matthew 24 and verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom is kingdom. Right, so we still going to see a nation against nation, kingdom is kingdom around the world. And let's go to Ethnos. It says, there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Why? Because you had this heavy storm that took place over there in Illinois. We almost got near close to a tornado, especially in the city. It's kind of unprecedented, So that shows that the Heavenly Father is going to visit this earth, and with these tornadoes, earthquakes, landslides, flooding, famines, pestilence, etc., and then we're going to be seeing these nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, wars, rumors of wars. Matthew 24 and verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So these are the beginning stages of sorrows. You might have one escalation that might cool down and might sign off on a deal. Won't be surprised the escalation heat back up once again. It's not going to last that long because this happened previously before. So this is nothing new under the sun. But you're still going to see the nations are still going to be rising against one another. And we see that in different parts around the world. And you still got Pakistan versus Afghanistan. That's still going on. You still got tensions are heating up over there in Sudan. You still got tensions are heating up over there in Congo and different places over there in that area. You still got tensions heating up over there in Myanmar. And you still got tensions are heating up between Pakistan versus Afghanistan, like I mentioned before. You still got tensions heating up between Russia and Ukraine, Russia versus the United States, and China versus the United States, China versus Taiwan, China versus the Philippines. So these escalations are still going to continue to increase. It says Luke 21 and verse 10. Then say ye unto them, nations shall rise. So ever since February 5th of this year, the nuclear treaty was expired between the United States and Russia. I won't be surprised if nuclear arms race is going to heat up back again between Russia and Ukraine. Russia and the United States, I meant to say. It says Luke 21 and verse 10, then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So we're going to see more signs of that. And this is out of the book of Luke 21 verse 25. It says, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth the stress of nations will perplex Seabridge born. So we're still going to be seeing more and more of the nations starting to perplex. And just like we had those heavy protests that's been taking place over there in Northern Ireland, an individual try to unalive one of those Edomite Ireland leaders over there. So that you know, we're still going to be seeing the uptick in the uproars. We were those protests up there in Hague, those protests up there in they want to have the president up there, but they can step down as being the president out of the way the country is being run. So I think it was another news article that came out too over here in the United States about people they still trying to push the impeachment of Nero 47. So that what's that Mark the 3rd chapter? If a kingdom be divided, except the king cannot stand. This is Luke 24 and verse 25. Yeah, read that again. It says, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and stars upon the earth. The rest of nations will perplex Seabridge born. This is Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. It says, I'm going to start at verse 23. This is Mark chapter 3, verse 23. It says, he called unto them, and he said to them in a parable, how can say fast I say? How shall I says, how can say fast I say? And this is verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided, except the kingdom not stand. So you're still going to have modern nations and modern kingdoms are still going to be divided, still to this day. This is Mark chapter 3, verse 25. It says, and if a house be divided, except the house not stand. Right, so the house of Edom is not going to stand, going to be divided right along with the nations. Verse 26, it says, and the Satan rises against itself and be divided, and stand and have an end. Right, so the Satan rises against itself, be divided, and stand and have an end. And if he's coming down with very wrath, because you know you have a short time to rule. So we'll bring out that Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. So we're going to see the Heavenly Father visit this earth now so more than ever. This is Jeremiah chapter 28, and I'm going to read verse 7. Guys, look at Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 7. It says, nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak into the ears, and the ears of all people. Jeremiah 28, verse 8, it says, the prophets that have been before thee and before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence. Right, so we're going to continue to prophesy against great countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, and pestilence. And especially these evils and pestilences only going to continue to increase, and these wars, you know. And like I mentioned again, the Russia-Ukraine situation, that's only going to intensify. Tensions down there in the South China Sea, China versus Taiwan, that's only going to continue to increase. Over in the Korean Peninsula, South Korea, Japan versus the United States, that's going to heat back up once again. And all these Southeast Asian countries, they still going to be battling over there in the disputed territorial islands, not too far from the South China Sea. So this is what we see war, evil. This is Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 9. It says the prophet was prophesied peace, but the word of the prophet shall come to pass. Then shall the prophet know that for how much the same prophecies they still going to come to pass fulfilled. It's been on the words of the Heavenly Father that's going forward. This now a lot of times the Heavenly Father might allow peace and all that. You know, so that scripture says Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter. You know, a time of peace and a time of love and all that, but we still live in a time of WARNAHATE. So there's no new thing under the sun. This is Jeremiah 51 verse 46. That's what Jeremiah 51 verse 46 says. These are all things like hard to find, and you feel from that the land, and a woman should come on 1 year. After that, another year should come and rule. Divides the land, rule against ruler. So we still gonna see modern rule against modern ruler, but that's still gonna continue to take place. So get back to that Matthew 12 and verse 25, and I'm close out. Yeah, this is Matthew 12, verse 25. Yahushua read it in verse 11. It says, and Yahushua know their thoughts, what the hearts of your mind. And he says to them, every kingdom divided shall be brought to destination, or every single house divided shall not stand. Well, I still don't see they continue to go forth. So with that, this was just a quick outside lesson of this prophecy updates. So it doesn't matter how many peace deals and treaty deals with these nations have between one another. And you still don't see our war. Still see the mark of peace and all these major prophecies that's still going to come to pass in the field. So with that, hope this was edifying. With that, I'd like to give all praise and say glory and honor to say Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Prakadash. And your Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Ba'Hashem, in the name of Hamashiach. Ancient Paleo Hebrew, and I say Barakatham to the elders and the apostles of Ba'aki and Ba'akrof. Until next time, I would say Kum and Shalom and above all, and Shalom.